Welcome to the Blue Cafe. We offer stories of infidelity, betrayal, and redemption. Please like and subscribe. Cheers. Now, on to today's story. The worst week of my life. Advice. I've, M29, been with my fiance, F28, for just over 9 years now, and we've got a 5-year-old daughter together. We were supposed to get married in October of last year, but I ended up cancelling the wedding after a huge fight about her spending money that we didn't have. We stayed together after that. I felt immense guilt and she felt immense pain and shame. The last year with COVID has been rough. She lost her job as a result of the pandemic, and as the main caregiver of our child, my own work took a huge hit without access to childcare. She got a new job back in September last year, worked at home from Jan-March and then returned to the office of her new place. Things feel off. Intimacy has dried up. She's always on her phone when she's here, and she's not very pleasant to be around. She says her hormones are whack. They are, and she just needs time to unwind after work, so I don't push too hard and I try my best to get on with it. I'm wary of what's going on in our relationship. I assume it's still related to bad feelings over the wedding, but I don't for a second think that she's being unfaithful. My daughter turned 5 a couple of weeks back. Shortly beforehand I was reminiscing and looking through old photos/videos of her from my phone/Google Photos. My partner's Google account is logged in and I begin to look at the photos she's taken as well. There, between a picture of Toad in the hole and another of my daughter, I found a set of nude photos. She's never sent me a nude photo before, and so alarm bells are immediately ringing. I found another set of her in lingerie from February. I confronted her about it, and she explained that her girlfriends had recommended she take some to build her self-esteem and to spice up our relationship, but she had decided against sending it to me because she didn't like the way they looked. One set was taken just before Valentine's Day and the other just before our anniversary, so I think I believe what she says, but there's this awful doubt sitting in my stomach. She starts spending an awful lot of time at the office, getting in an hour early and frequently staying late. My doubts are eating at me, and while browsing this subreddit and others I discover Google location timeline. She's still logged in on my PC and so I look at where she's been. Often when she says she's staying late at the office, the timeline shows her leaving on time and going to a location nearby for an hour or so and then coming home. At this point I assume the worst. I cross-reference all the times she's said she's stayed late and the GPS data and find about 10 occasions in the last few months where she's not where she says she is. I haven't confronted her yet. Last Thursday again she claims to have stayed late at work for a meeting, but the GPS data has her at the same location nearby afterwards. The next day, after we put our daughter to bed, she gets in the shower and I do the naughty and snoop through her phone. I check the messages from one of her co-workers and I'm utterly distraught. I find sexually explicit texts between the two, talk about out-of-hours fun time, her getting lifts back with him without my knowledge. I see red and confront her immediately. She tells me the sexual texts are just banter, that that's the environment in the office and she wanted to fit in. I don't believe her and reveal that she's been lying to me about when she leaves work and where she's going, which she denies even after I show her the information, claims that it's not right. She's in hysterics at this point and she's begging me to let her explain everything, and so I let her. She tells me that after she returned to work after working from home she was struggling to adjust, the workload had increased and she was stressing out big time. One day in March she had what sounds like a panic attack at the office, which she had never told me about. She was ashamed and embarrassed about it for some reason. One of old friends hears about the incident and comes to her and says that her sister is in the process of starting up an online therapy business, and if she wanted to talk to someone then she could do so for free in exchange for a testimonial when they launched. This is what she says she's been doing after work when the location data doesn't add up. Now I struggle to believe what she's saying, and don't quite know how it links back to sexual texts with her co-worker. So she tells me that the co-worker came to her afterwards and told her she needs to de-stress via fantasy. he and one of her bosses start to make sexual jokes about her, which she apparently tolerates and eventually joins in with. Then he started to send messages to her in the same manner, and she responded the same. She then claims that about a month ago it escalated, and while she was in the kitchen the co-worker slapped her backside and she freaked out at him. She told some of the other women there about it, who told her to report it to the big boss, and she did so the next day. The co-worker got shouted at and their relationship apparently frosted over. I remember around this time that my fiance had mentioned that the co-worker had become insufferable to her because he had been doing badly and was on the verge of losing his job, obviously missing out some crucial details. Since that point there weren't any sexual messages on her phone, but had got a ride back with him. She's apologizing a bunch and saying that her mind wasn't right and she thought I'd blame her for it for some reason. I told her that I'd never think that if the interactions were one way, but they weren't. Anyway, I'm not buying it particularly. I tell her it's over, to leave me alone, and in the morning I take my daughter and go to my parents for the day. That evening I falter. I talk the situation over with my sister and she suggests that individually each thing could be plausible, but the whole situation is shady, which it is. I went back home later that night, and after the little one was put to bed we had a much calmer conversation about it all. I get her to admit that she enjoyed the attention at first as a boost to her self-esteem, that at the very least she was dishonest and incredibly inappropriate with another man, but also that I understood that the relationship was heavily strained. Things are looking okay. I tell her I'm willing to get couples counseling and try to forgive her behavior. She agrees that she wants to stay together, but then says she wants to take it at her own pace, that she doesn't want to rush back to acting as if everything's okay when it isn't. She also claims that she's not sure that I would forgive her. I'm unsure what she means. I'm confused. Why am I pushing for it if she won't? I ask her to show me a shred of proof of these online therapy sessions. She can't. After some intrusive thoughts in my head we frost over again and don't talk much the next day. I tell her that she has to seek the solution. It's on her to rebuild the trust that she broke, and then we can work on the relationship's deeper issues. She says it's just a lot and we both need time to process our feelings. She's starting to get annoyed/defensive at answering my questions about what's been going on. When she next returns home from work she tells me that she's got work to do tonight, so after bedtime she gets her laptop out and starts typing away. I'm angry. I ask her what she thinks she's doing, why when her family is balancing on a knife said she wouldn't use the couple of hours we have together to talk it out more. She reluctantly agrees. She's incredibly deflective, claims that I'm pushing her too hard on it, that I'm not considering her feelings, and that since on D-Day I told her that we were no longer together and that we weren't together at that point. So I told her if that's the case then she can leave. She says she won't, and so I say that if she doesn't I'll take my name off of the contract, we rent, and she pays her own way. More hysterics, more accusations of my awfulness, but ultimately she gives in and goes to her mother's to stay. She's there now while I'm with the little one. I'm utterly crushed right now and not sure that reconciliation is possible, or if I even want it. Her story just seems like utter nonsense. I can't get my head around it all, around what is true. I don't know if she had an emotional affair, a full-on affair, or none of the above, and she's just actually struggling and has been keeping it from me. Either way she's not here now, and I'm struggling to hold everything together. Thanks for reading. TLDR, found sexually explicit messages on partner's phone, weaved a massive story about it. I don't know what's real. After reading and rereading her story I have now found my new definition for unmitigated horseshit. She's got an absolute EA and highly probable PA going on with a guy at her office. Protect yourself financially, get a lawyer to hammer out an acceptable co-parenting and custody agreement, and let your fiance know that you have nothing to say to her unless she comes fully clean on the specifics of her affairs. Sorry buddy. She'll never admit to more than what she's already said. I feel. Thanks. They usually don't, unfortunately. But your gut is probably right, and honestly, I have found that whatever your worst case scenario is, double it. We tend to tone down what we think they did. So get yourself that lawyer and start planning a new life and dreaming new dreams. Make it your top priority and detach from any feelings you have for her ASAP. It will help you in the long run because she is clearly going to do the bare minimum if she tries at all. Then 10 years from now you will regret every second you tried to make it work. Take this as your warning from someone who tried with an unrepentant cheater. You cancelled the wedding for a reason. Take the hint from the universe, she isn't the one. Seriously, see a lawyer about shared custody. She's trickle-truthing and minimizing things. At the very least she had an emotional affair which is probably still ongoing, hence her wanting to take things at her own pace. At worst it's a full-on physical affair. True, you may never get the full truth from her, so make your decision based on the proof you have. Keep digging, there are so many holes in her story it isn't funny. I'm sure you will find even more solid evidence. Good luck. I agree with this. Also, the fact that you confront her with proof and she still full-on denies it is 100% an indication that something is going on. Go with your gut. If something doesn't feel right, it's because it's not. I'm sorry you are going through this. Don't hurt yourself more than she already has and walk away from her with some dignity and self-respect. It will be one of the hardest things you do since there is a child involved, but you can do it. It won't be easy, but it's necessary. What do you care about? It's a massive bullshit story. She is trying to manipulate you and the situation with your desperate clinging to the hope that her bullshit story may after all pan out. It's in the Book of Manipulation, Chapter 1, tell them what they wish is true. Don't fall for that shit. No need to press for details, you know a lot more than you need to know to dump her ass. Fend for yourself and for your kid. Good luck, mate. Have her take you to her therapist she claims she is going to. Visiting the location of the alleged therapy sessions seems like a very easy check. But the series of individual stories scream affair. She has a panic attack but doesn't tell her fiance. She gets free therapy/counseling but doesn't tell her fiance. She gets sexually harassed at work and doesn't tell her fiance. She engages in sexual banter with a co-worker. She is defensive and argumentative. She is showing signs of regret and guilt, not remorse. Sorry, dude. If she won't come clean, then you cannot truly reconcile. If she won't come clean, then marriage counseling is a waste of time. She claims it's an online service, so I asked to see emails, or check her history, or anything to prove it. She says it's off the books and she did it on her friend's laptop. As I type it out I realize I'm an idiot. Lol, she's ridiculous and you'd be a fool to believe that. If she went to that place several times, it's not only an emotional affair. It's definitely a physical one. Be smart and more importantly, be good to yourself. You deserve better. I don't understand, if it's online, why did she have to go to that location after work to do it? My BS, the meter is sounding. She says because it is nearby and it's the place where the friend who set it up lives. Also that she didn't want to have the sessions within earshot of me, presumably because she would be speaking about the relationship. Jesus Christ, she's spinning them like a tornado. Who's the friend? $50, it's the co-worker who slapped her ass. Also, was the friend sitting in on the session as your fiancé was using their laptop? JFC, the BS just jumps off of the screen. An old female friend of hers who I'm pretty sure does actually live around there. I think it's likely that she was actually at her place, but don't believe that it was for counseling. Hey, don't beat yourself up. You're not an idiot for loving and trusting someone you've spent 9 years with and have a child with. You are a kind, caring, loyal, and empathetic human being, so it seems, and you don't deserve what she's doing to you, but you especially don't deserve what you're telling yourself. I'm 6 weeks from the third D-Day, long story, and the days I beat myself up are the ones where I kinda think I deserve him. Like if I'm that stupid then I must deserve someone stupid enough to treat me like shit. Those are lies and habits we learn from people who lied to us because believing we are inadequate makes it easier for them to lie to us. Do not let the gaslighting make you feel like an idiot. Thanks, I really appreciate that. Her story about work is utter fantasy. She claims to be in a situation where the men in the office treat her like meat. She has to work overtime constantly and it induces panic attacks. If it was true then she'd have talked about quitting, finding a new job or changing roles. I bet none of that happened. Was she paid any extra or got any benefits from the extra hours or time off in lieu if salaried? I bet not. The acid test, will she give up the job she claims to hate? She had been talking constantly about quitting over the past couple of months. She wasn't paid anything but she had been anticipating a pay rise for a while. She said on D-Day that she'd leave the job if she needed to, but seems to have walked that back now. Did you check out the GPS location she was going to for an hour after work? Is it a bar, hotel/motel, apartment, park? It's an apartment in a busy urban area near a shopping center where one of her longtime friends lives. So she needs to use the laptop at this specific apartment? Her argument is that it's near to her work and she didn't want to do it at home where I might overhear what she's talking about, our relationship. Do you believe that? Where does the male co-worker live? Do you think it's possible that they have been hooking up at her friend's place after work before returning home? I'm struggling to believe any of it tbh. He lives a 45-minute drive away with his own partner. I'm sorry this has happened to you. Your GF has been so secretive about everything and when questioned the stories she tells are so incredible. Gaslighting or trickle-truthing, or she stonewalls. She doesn't know the name of the online service she uses nor the name of her therapist. Seriously, she isn't behaving like an innocent person. An innocent person would put you in contact with her friend and the owners of the startup to clear her name. Has she offered to do any of this? No, and I wouldn't personally believe what her friend says either at this point since she seems central to it. I told her to send her a message to her friend to give any details. I saw her send the message, she didn't get a response and then she went to her parents for a few hours with our daughter. She got a call back then and her friend was apparently pissed that she told me because of something about liability. Didn't hear the phone call but I can see that a phone call happened when she said it did, but no message confirming anything. Also take the ring back and are you sure she's at her mother's? I would also talk to her hour about this. Yeah, I'm pretty sure she's at her mum's, at least she went there initially and the AP lives a while away and with his own partner. Unfortunately I didn't get a photo of the text messages so don't really have any proof to show her HR. All of a sudden she has some answers but a massive case of the dumbs when you want more details. There is no need for proof, this is not a marriage with legal repercussions. You do not have to prove to anybody that she is cheating. She knows she is and for you to try and have proof to prove her wrong is just going to drag you into a deeper emotional hell. That story is not real, and if she cannot prove it then it is done. Ask to check her phone again, and if the chats are deleted, it is done. This girl is inventing terrible fiction here, not even an erotica site will publish her story. Everything was deleted the day after D-Day when I was at my parents', at the behest of her sister who was there and left when I arrived back. I don't understand, is this friend a therapist? Even if the sessions were off the books, why are they being conducted on her friend's laptop? Does your girlfriend not own a laptop? Has she given the name of the online service and the name of the therapist who is not charging her? I think you know in your gut that this story is sketchy as F. You are her boyfriend, yet she didn't confide in you about her experiences at a new job. The sexting and photos alone should tell you something is going on. Either she's banging the female co-worker at her place or banging a male co-worker at this friend's place. The friend is the sister of one of the people who's trying to start up whatever this therapy thing is. My girlfriend does have a laptop that she takes to work, and I did ask her about that. She says she doesn't know the name of the service, and claims that the therapist changes weekly. Read up on Occam's razor, my friend. It's practically tailor-made for your situation. And if I didn't know any better, she's still in limerence. 3 questions. Have you investigated the place she went to? Why doesn't she give up her job? Why did she find the need to lie to you if it was all innocent? Lastly, don't even think of marrying your cheater. I know now that it is the place that the friend who set her up with her therapy lives, but I can't really investigate as it's an apartment in a busy urban area and the GPS data doesn't get that specific. It placed her at a shopping center immediately nearby. I believe she was at her friend's apartment but doubt the purpose and presume her friend is in on it all. Very best case scenario, she's encouraged secrecy and it's more than likely she's covered for something worse. She offered on D-Day to leave her job if that's what it took, but has shown no action on that front, so I'm assuming that's been walked back. First off, she says that she thought I would think she was crazy and a hypocrite. My own sister is a very anxious person and has semi-frequent panic attacks. Partner thinks she's crazy and says so often, and then claims she thought I might think her unsafe around our daughter. I wouldn't at all, of course. The counseling, she claims that because our strained relationship was part of the problem I would be offended. Again, I wouldn't. Finally, we're in the UK and had a pretty strict lockdown, and my daughter was off of school for a very long time, which left me homeschooling her whilst I slotted my own work in at night. By March I was pretty frayed and she claims she didn't want to add in any more stress. You blew your cover. A simple buy or turning up at the spot with a camera and legal witness would have sorted everything. You now have to lay low, if you want the truth. Basically, she's had sex with the coworker and you have no proof. Saddle up for an onslaught of pain. She'll be wiser from now on. Keep low and she will fall back to her old ways. Then keep your evidence under wraps until you have what you need to prove the cheating. The rest will be up to you. Good luck. Yeah, I regret going too quickly now and letting lots slip through. I saw the messages and just thought that was all the proof I'd need, but now it's clear it's not enough to get the truth. Honestly, there is no reason to hide online therapy sessions unless it's not online therapy sessions. Do you by any chance are in contact with any of her office colleagues? Office affairs are usually pretty obvious and clear to notice for people, but most of them choose to keep quiet about it. If it's a coworker, you'll find out about it. Anyway, you should insist on seeing this online therapy session and the friend and the laptop for yourself to put things to bed. Just reading what you've told us is shady enough to indicate she is cheating and gaslighting you. If you keep asking her about her therapy stuff from start to end, you will definitely find cracks, and if you play your cards right, she will confess everything. Yeah, I've just messaged one of the women that she works with, not expecting anything but crossing my fingers. We'll try and get into contact with the friend whose home she's been going to / whose sister supposedly is involved in this startup. I will mention lawyers in regards to doing it off the books if she doesn't help. Stop listening to her mumbo jumbo. What actions has she taken? What actions have you seen from her? Offered transparency? Quit her job? Told her M's wife /GF. Cut off toxic friends? Gotten herself therapy? Read any books to help you heal? What have her actions told you? I hope the word marriage is not in your dictionary with this women. We hope you have enjoyed today's episode. Please comment, like and subscribe. Cheers. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are.